Hi, I'm Mike Hanfurger with Tricky Fast Studios. Today I'm going to show you about the combat system in Cat RPG Builder. By the end of this video, you should be able to set up a player or an NPC to be able to participate in combat, including dealing damage to an enemy. To get started, we're going to use this test scene that we've been using, and it has some geometry and a player that's set up with a first-person camera. But that's about it. So, first thing we need to do on the player, while there is a combat service in Cat RPG Builder, it's currently not used for anything. That will change in the near future. So the first thing to do is to add a combat manager to the player. The combat manager has some parameters attached to it. One of them is the health stat name, a damage application stack, which we'll talk about in a minute, the target, which is the current target of the player, which we can leave open for now, and then we have whether they're threatened currently or in combat currently, also leave those off. Auto loot on death would be if this was not a player and was actually an NPC, whether they should be looted automatically when they die. And then we have the amount of experience to grant on death. Again, if this was not a player, this would be more relevant. This would be how much experience the player would get for killing this character. Experience loss on death is for the player, and in that case, it's how much experience is taken away when the player dies. The next option is to clear the target when it dies. So if you have a target set and you're targeting something and then it dies, should we clear the target out? Usually that defaulting to true is the right way to go. Auto target attacker means that if someone attacks you, then you'll automatically set them to your target if you do not already have a target. Leave combat after means that the in combat flag will be turned off if you're not attacked in 10 seconds from your last attack. Then we have some sound options here, including the target for the sound, which we can set to owner. And then an audio mixer group, some audio source options, and then we can have a list of sounds to play when you get hurt. So let's add one, and let's select this. And we have a clip right there we can play. Now, the player has a combat manager, but as you can see, this requires some stats. So let's add a value holder. And then on the value holder, we can add some stats. So we're going to add a fuel stat for health. And then we'll just use a base stat for the max health. So let's call this health. And then max health. Health. We will set the max value to owner max health, and then the value we'll start that at 100, and we'll set max health to start at 100 as well. Okay, so that's really all you need to do to get ready for combat. Oh, we do need to talk about the damage application stack. So what is a damage application stack? Basically, it's a chain of conditions and actions that get run whenever damage is applied to a character. And what it does is it can either cause the damage to be completely avoided in the case of like a block or a dodge, or it could be reduced in the case of armor. So currently the way to build the damage application stack is to create a game object, add the damage application stack to it, and then underneath this we can add conditions and actions. So they do get run in order, so the order is important. Typically we would add a few things here. So we would start with a condition called hit check. So number one, this is automatically adding the conditional action. We don't want that. We just want the straight up condition to be on top, called hit check or hit check. So what this does is this can check accuracy. So whether there's a 2-hit or not. It can check dodging, whether the opponent can dodge. Or in this case, if we're applying this to the player, it's going to be whether the player can dodge, and the accuracy will be whoever the attacker is. So let's fill in. We can also leave these empty, and if they're empty, it won't be applied. So we'll leave accuracy out for now. One thing you can do is you can add operations to these. So you can give it a base stat, but you can also, apply any operation to it as well, multiple operations. Same thing with dodge. You can apply operations. You can also prepend the damage type to accuracy, and we'll talk about damage types a little later. You can also prepend the attack range. That's going to be either melee or ranged. Damage type could be like magic, physical, whatever you want, really. That one's really up to you as the game developer to decide. And then we can have some animations here. So miss animation target. So and then what the parameter to set is. Dodge animation target. What the parameter to set is. So let's add a dodge stat, and we'll call that just dodge. So by default, this is going to go between 0 and 1. And if it is above the value, then you did not dodge. If it is below the value, then you did dodge. So let's add a new stat here. And let's call that dodge. And let's give him a 15% chance to dodge. Okay, so we have 15% chance to dodge. We don't have an animation to play. All done. So the next thing we might want to do is add the possibility to block. And we can do that with a block condition. Again, we don't want this conditional action, so we're just going to pull that out. And keep in mind the order here can be important. So block stat name, we'll call that block. And then it has the same options as before. It has operations you can attach to it. So we'll just create a new one. We'll call that block. We'll give you a 20% chance to block. And then we can add another thing, a reduced damage action. So notice that this one's an action, whereas the other two were conditions. They all get run the same. They work on the same data. So we can add some damage reduction here. And we have some options here. We can set a reduction stat. And whether that's a percent or an actual just like number of how much it gets reduced by. We'll call this armor points. And we'll make a new stat here called armor points. And we'll give you 3. So we could also prepend the damage type, the attack type. Like I said, you can make it work as a percent. Right now we have it set not to do that, so it would always take 3 points off of any damage that's coming in. Then we could add some random reduction. So if we add another stat, we could randomize a number between 0 and that stat name. We can also apply the reduction to a fuel, so that if you had, say, a armor that runs out, that gets damaged, you could add a fuel for that armor, and you could apply the reduction to that fuel, and therefore, after a while, the armor would get down to 0, and it could maybe be destroyed or something like that. Or you could store it in a value, in which case you can access it later. And then we can add some operations if we wanted to as well. that's really it for a damage application stack. You can use any other conditions in here you want, but these are the ones typically used. And, sometimes you might not have blocking. You might not allow dodging, but you might have like an accuracy to hit sort of thing. You might not have damage reduction. All these things can happen. So the next thing we need to do is save that as a prefab. Okay. And go back to our player here and give them a damage application stack. Great. And now we're going to need an NPC.
All right, so let's create a new enemy. Let's create a capsule. Let's put it on the ground. I'm going to add, oops, yep. Make it into a state machine. We're going to add a combat manager. And let's also add a value holder. And let's add all of those same values onto this guy. Combat manager, give him the same damage application stack. All right. So let's have him sit there. We can actually just create a button here. That's what we should do. So in our main camera, in our main canvas, we're going to create a button. There. Put the button down. All right. So damage button, components, make that into a state machine, give it a trigger, and then when this triggered action happens, so when you want to apply damage to somebody, there's an action for that called damage action. And here's where we can actually do some damage. So source, targeted for now. You would probably want to keep it targeted when you use it, but for now we're just gonna stuff in that enemy. Attack range type, that's where that range comes in when you're looking at the damage application stack. Damage type, again, we can change that to whatever we want, but it can be used to look up different stats. Minimum damage amount, maximum damage amount is going to choose a random number in between those. And so we'll do 5 and 15. Actually, let's keep it simple. We'll just always have it be 15. You can also apply operations to those. These can reference stats if you want. And then for avoidance, we can pick whether any of these things are going to work. So whether this should be for the accuracy, this should be for blocking, dodging, and damage reduction. So let's do that. So whenever we click this, it's going to damage the other guy. One other thing we want to set on this damage action here, the source of the damage needs to be the player, not the owner, because the owner in this case is the button, and the button is not a combatant. Oops, we accidentally moved the player stats instead of copying them. So let's copy the player stats. I think also we want to go back to our damage application stack here, and we do want to add a 2-hit here. It is currently required. Oops, and then we will just make it 100% so that it will always hit. All right, so let's give that a try. So we got our guy over here. So if we click damage, there's a chance that he's actually not going to get damaged. We're not going to be able to tell that right now. So he dodged or something. He might have blocked or dodged that one. Same with that one. There we go. We hit him for 12 points of damage. So if you remember, we did 15, and he has 3 armor points, so that's 12 points of damage. He dodged again. Another 12 points of damage. So in order to make this show up a little better so that we know what's going on, we can use a new behavior that is the overhead, it's the combat text behavior. Whoop. Not sure what happened there. It's a combat text behavior. So basically, this can be used for your typical combat text. If you can set any one of these things, so we could have a health bar. So let's see. That probably will work there. We can set the display type, so we can set that to be only when they're in combat. We can set a damage prefab. And let's get that over. So we got damage, we've got heal, we got miss, we got block, and we got dodge. So each one of these, if we look at it, really it's got a little canvas on it. Actually, let's just pull it into, where's our canvas? Put it into our canvas. Let's see if we can find where it is. Right. So, right, it says miss. Actually, this exists in 3D, so we could just look at it anyway. Right. So all it is this text here, and it has an action on it to kind of move it up, and then to destroy it. We could fade it out if we wanted. It always faces the player, or the main camera in this case. So pretty much all of these are the same. The only difference here is the damage one. If you want to take a look at that. So that is going to have a UI float text data bind that points to damage with a lowercase d on local. And that's where the current damage is stored. Similarly, the healing one, right, also has a float text data bind that is local healing. And these all have that same face target action and also the action list that moves them up and then destroys them. So, and then our health bar will look like that above the guy's head. Alright, so let's give that a try. So now if we come over here and we damage, it did 12 damage. He blocked it, did 12 damage, 12 damage, 12 damage, 12 damage, blocked again, 12, blocked, dodged. The health bar is not working now. Let's see what we did with our health bar here. Oh, we used health % here. So actually we can do something better now. This was an old version of something. So instead of that, we can have a fuel bar data bind and fuel owner and we'll call this health. Shoot, we're going to have to rebuild this, so I don't want to mess this up. So I'm going to come over here, and we're going to make a new health bar over there, and go back to our combat text behavior, and pull the health bar in to that, so we'll use the new one. Okay, let's take a look at that. Around here. So notice he doesn't have a health bar because he's not in combat yet. So if we look at his combat manager, right, he's not in combat, he's not threatened. Hit damage, now he's threatened and he's in combat, and he's missing some health over there because we hit him for 12. So if we hit him again, hit him for 12 again, that time he dodged, hit him for 12, hit him for 12, hit him for 12, hit him for 12. He blocked. And now, if we take away his last bit of health here, I mean, he's technically dead, but we don't have anything checking for that. So typically, what we would do is add a dead state, right? But for now, we can just add a, let's, actually, you know what? Let's add the dead state. Here we go. New. And we'll also add an alive state. And we'll only show the combat text behavior in alive. In dead, let's see, how did we build this guy, right? He's got a capsule collider. And let's give him a rigid body. Right. We'll turn off gravity for now, so that he doesn't fall over. In the dead state, we will enable gravity on owner, and let's also do another thing. Let's give him a apply force. Oops. We'll give him a force just in some direction here. Okay, so enemy starts in the alive phase, and then we're going to add a triggered action for on death, right? So whenever he dies, we're going to change state to dead. There it goes. Must have missed. Alright, so now let's give this a try. Okay, so he's still alive. Next time he gets hit, he should die. Oh, he blocked it. He dodged it. Now he's holding on. There we go. Falls right over, and he's dead. And now if we keep hitting him, nothing happens. So typically, if we had set back on the player, if we had set, which we did, clear target on his death, and we had actually been targeting him, then once he died, we'd stop targeting him. But since we added this damage button that directly damages him by name, he's always just going to get damaged. Now, we could also heal him if we wanted to. So let's find our damage button and duplicate it, turn it into a heal button. And then we just want to Move it over here. Alright. So now, instead of damage action, we can add a heal action. That just takes a target. Minimum heal amount, we'll say between 10 and 15. So we also want to make sure that we're applying this not to the owner, but to this guy who's named enemy. I don't know why we'd want to heal our enemy, but I guess we do. So it does look like there's a slight bug applying heals in this way. That'll be fixed in the next version of Cat RPG Builder, or you can ask for the updated source code. But effectively, if we give this a try, your results may differ if you don't have that update. So we damage, he goes down. And by the way, the bug's only related to applying the damage via this button here. That's probably going to be not a common way to do this. Usually you'd be using an ability, and it works perfectly fine in that context. So hit heal, he goes up, we get that little plus, right? See, plus 13. We can keep healing him, but he's not going to go up any further. He blocked. We can damage him. He's dodging a lot there. We can heal him a bunch. See, it's giving random numbers there. The other thing we can show off is the combat targeting. Let's change this from named, right, to player. Target. Same thing with this one. Alright, so now we can add, there's an interaction for automatically targeting guys. So if we had an interaction here, interaction manager that is, and then underneath that we add cat RPG interaction, and then combat target interaction. Take a look at this. I don't think there's any parameters we need to set here. These are all the basic ones. Let's just make sure that our interaction manager is set up correctly. Yep. Yep. Okay. So the correct way to do this is to use a new condition. A lot of times you'll use this condition in an ability. And honestly, these buttons are kind of emulating an ability here. So what we want to do under these triggered actions is add a condition called combat target. So player, and then we'll do heal action under that. And instead of doing this, we can do targeted, and then we can just copy that over here, put the damage action under there, and instead of doing this, we can do targeted. So on our combat target interaction, targeter, we need to set the targeter to the player. Okay, so let's give this a try. Take a look over here. Oops, too close. Click on this guy. Let's make sure that he got selected. So our target's down the enemy. If we damage him, oh, he blocked that time. Blocked again. Dodge. Oh, he's getting, there we go. Now we're hurting him. We could also heal him. And now, once he's dead, you'll watch the target over here. And now it's cleared because he died. So now we don't have a target anymore for either one of these things. That about wraps it up for the combat system in Cat RPG Builder. In this video, you should have learned how to set up a player or an NPC with the ability to go into combat and to do damage or to heal other characters. I hope you found this video informative and useful. Let us know in the comments if there are other videos or tutorials you'd like to see. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media for the latest videos and other news. For more information on Cat or Cat RPG Builder and how they can help you build and prototype RPGs faster, please visit catgamebuilder.com. I'm Mike Hanberger with Tricky Fast Studios. Thanks for watching.